Hi friends, it's Peggy Noe from PrettyPaperCards.com, and today I have for you a really sweet treat holder for Valentine's Day, and it has a stick in it which is kind of like a cupcake stick that can stand up and give your sentiment, and I've chosen Happy Valentine's Day. So I want to show you how to make this treat holder. Let's get started. To start off with, you need 2 pieces of cardstock cut at 4 1/4 by 6 inches. And I've used Lovely lipstick because I think it's a real pretty Valentine color. Now, after you've cut your cardstock, we're going to want to score it. And I'm using my Simply Scored scoreboard. I really love this scoreboard, and I'm going to show you how to use it here. It's by Stampin Up, and it's a little bit loud because of my bracelets. We're going to score at 1 1/2, putting our piece of cardstock in a landscape mode. Turn that around and do it at 1 1/2 again. Now I know you could come down here and say 4 1/2, but to me it's just easier because all the measurements are 1 1/2. 1 1/2 on the 2 long sides and 1 1/2 on the bottom. So these are your score lines, and that's how we're going to create our treat holder. Now let's put that to the side. Now we've got 2 pieces scored the same. Now I went ahead and cut out the corners of this one. Your instructions are down below, and I also have a PDF tutorial on my blog, but I wanted to save a little bit of time. So we're going to score our lines, and I've cut out the 2 corners of this particular piece, okay? The other piece, you don't do it the same. The other piece, you simply cut in on each side. So that's one thing to remember. Just cut in like that on each side. You don't cut the whole square off, all right? And let's do our folding and burnishing on that. Now, the thing that makes this box so pretty, I think, is that we're going to emboss it with the Lace Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. That's a big mouthful, isn't it? But I think that's what makes it so pretty. So let's bring in our Big Shot. I'm sorry about all the noise. Here's the Big Shot. Okay, and this is our embossing folder. Now for this type of embossing, this is a very fat folder, and all you need is your basic platform and 1 clear plate. You don't need the thin die adapter or any other plates, and you don't need 2 clear plates. You only need 1. So we're going to put our cardstock pre-cut and scored right in here. Now what you can do, if you like, I don't know if you can see that. Let me move this back a little bit. Sorry. If you like, is just emboss and don't emboss the bottom, because you don't really need to, but it doesn't matter. It'll work no matter what. And then I put that in a Big Shot, and let's run it through. I hope you can see that. All right, and here we go. There we have that embossed. Okay, great. Now let's do the next one, the other piece. This makes this a really special, I think, a really special treat holder because it makes it so pretty and gives that texture. So we don't need to emboss that bottom portion. And here we go. We're just going to run that, put it up here so you can see it a little better. Run that right through the Big Shot. Oops, made a little noise. Okay, so we have both pieces now embossed. I'm just going to move this off to the side. I don't usually use my Big Shot in my tutorials, but I wanted to today to show you how to do that. So here are your 2 pieces. Now you can still see your score lines. They're still there. You might want to re-burnish them because you're going to need to use them for your creating your treat holder. But doesn't that make that so much prettier? All right, now let's start with the one piece that still has the little edges on. I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue. It's my favorite. It's my adhesive of choice. And I like it because you can move it around after you press things down. Got a little bit there, I'm just gonna get it off. All right, so we're gonna fold this up and create one side of the treat holder just by putting these little edges in, just like that. Ellie's barking a bit. Do you hear my little Yorkshire Terrier? She's right here with me. She's always there. Okay, and it takes a minute for the Tombow to set up. I'm just gonna hold it there, but that gives you the ability to move it a little bit too. So I'm gonna hold that down. Okay, now that half of your treat holder is complete. Now all that you do, and it's very simple, you just set the first part on the bottom and bring these two up and glue it together. Pretty easy, isn't it? Okay, I'm gonna put that again. Okay, so let's put our glue on these three sides. And even though this has been embossed, these edges here, it doesn't matter. It's gonna work fine. All right. Now what I like to do is turn this over so that I can line up the base really just right, like that. And I'm going to hold that in place just a minute so that it kind of dries. I still have on my Valentine nails, I suppose you've noticed, with the little hearts. Yep. I love to have my nails done pretty, and it's my one little splurge. Okay, so we're going to pull the sides up like this and just hold them in place. Isn't that quick and easy? There you go. And look at your cute little Valentine treat box. And if you want, you can be a little more specific about where you put the embossing folder. We could have had this come down the center. I don't know. I just think it looks pretty any way that you have it. Now the next thing we're going to do is put our border around the top. We have that cute little border around the top that we scored. And we've got I think I forgot to burnish my little lines, but I can do it here. Just fold them in. Okay. And this is just going to wrap around like this. And I've given you some extra on the back. And I'll show you why. For some reason, my glue isn't holding as well as it usually does. We're just about to have some rain here, and I'm wondering if the weather isn't playing a little havoc with my adhesive today. So on this little strip, again, you're just going to put some glue down the strip. And then we just wrap it around the top of our treat box. And it's real quick. And with the Tombow, again, you can move it. Just hold it in place and make sure that, the top edge is even. And you do have to adjust those lines because as the piece comes around the corners, it uses a little bit more of the DSP. That little fold uses a little bit more. And so here I can just wrap that around to make sure both of those edges work together. And there you go. Isn't that cute? There's your treat box. Okay, now we're going to start decorating our treat box. And here is what I did with the other one. So I've already cut out, and I'll show you, using the Be Mine stitch framelits. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I love these framelits. And this particular framelit here cuts a little edge, a little frame of a heart, and an inner heart. And so I've used Whisper White cardstock to cut this little edge here, or rather frame. And then I took Petal Pink cardstock and came in and used it again to cut the center of the heart. And I've embossed that with our same embossing folder. So what we're going to do here is just add our Tombow, just a little bit. And the one interesting thing about Tombow is if you just wait a few seconds, it tends to set up a little bit. So if you wait before you press it down, just a tiny minute, it won't smear as much. So I'm just going to wait, and I see that that little edge keeps wanting to come loose. I'm going to hold that down again. Okay, so now we're just going to set this on the front and press. And it just, nothing comes out the edges. Isn't that nice? Yep. And now for our little petal pink embossed heart, I am going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals to just get that up a little bit, give it a little more dimension. And you know, we never know with this embossing folder, which side is up? People ask that. I don't really know. I don't think it matters. Both sides are very pretty, so I'm just gonna do it on this side because I kind of like that flower there. And then I'm gonna take my little papers off my dimensionals and pop that up at another angle right there. Now I've pre-done a bow, if I can find it here. I had a bow that I pre-tied. Oh, here it is. Here's my bow that I pre-tied to just stick on the center. Now you can use a glue dot, but I'm gonna go again with just some glue. Put a little dot in there and just hold this on. A glue dot would work great also. And again, you just hold it like that. Yep, hold it like that. I had glue on my nail and it just brought it up a little bit. Okay, what do you think? Isn't that super cute? Just press it down a little bit more. There's your treat box. I don't know if you can, I'm going to just hold it at a little bit of an angle. Okay, now we're going to set that aside to do our treat holder stick that I've created. Now for this, what I used is, I just used a skewer stick that you would use in your kitchen, and I clipped it with some wire clippers. I just clipped it up at the top, and I've held it on there. That is some washi tape, and that'll hold it pretty well. Now, to decorate the front, I have one circle of lovely lipstick cardstock, and it's been punched, and I'll punch another one to show you, with the Starburst punch. It's a 2-inch circle, but it has the cute jagged edges, which I really like. So there's the background circle. And then for the inside circle, I'm stamping it with a stamp, a traditional Happy Valentine's Day stamp from the Meant to Be Cling stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it again in lovely lipstick, remembering that's the best thing about Stampin' Up, is the fact that all the colors are the same. They all coordinate. I don't mean they're the same. I mean the cardstock is the same color as the ribbon, as the ink, and it all looks, it really is, it makes your project so much nicer because your colors coordinate. So I'm inking up my stamp, and I've got enough paper in case I make a mistake. I could do another one. And I'm going to stamp down, press down with my Happy Valentine's Day. Came out great. And now I'm going to punch that with my 1 3/4 inch circle punch. And that's one thing I like about using a punch, is that you can get your sentiments centered really nice in there. And there's our punch circle. Now I'm going to also put that on with Stampin' Dimensionals, because that just gives it a little more, it just makes it a little more exciting when you look at it. It isn't flat. And we'll just pop that right on there in the center. I like to use 3 dimensionals. You could use 1 if you are saving on dimensionals. And I'm going to put that right in the center. And then I've cut some little hearts. And let me see if I can find my little heart. Oh dear, I might have lost it amongst all of this. Okay, I think I've lost it, but I'll show you. With the Be Mine stitched framelits, you have this adorable die that cuts a frame of hearts, and the hearts that pop out are perfect for sticking anywhere you want to stick them. And I've used one of those little hearts. I did this with Petal Pink cardstock, and I've used one of those little hearts and I've popped it on there with a mini dimensional. And then, like I mentioned, I adhered my stick on the back with a washi tape. And then I'll show you how to assemble it. Well, I'll show you what I did. Some of you might have a better idea. I took my box and I added some, filling candy hearts in that whole box would take almost a package, right? So I just put some paper towels in there. And then, this is funny, I have my candies in a little clay pot. These are the little sweetheart candies. And we'll just fill those in. And then you just stick your little stick right in, your little sentiment stick. And there's your cute Valentine treat holder. Don't you love it? And I think it's so much sweeter with the embossing. It really adds a lot to it. It makes it better than just a plain one. I tried to make a plain one, and I'll show you. It's still cute. This is without the embossing. It's still cute, but I just think that embossing adds so much. So thank you so much for popping by to share my treat holder with me today. I hope that you'll shop at my store, which is listed down below. You can get all these beautiful Stampin' Up! Products there, and have a great day. Bye-bye.